Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's episode. I'm very, very excited because I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Kristina Bloom, all the way from the USA, Wisconsin, if we're being accurate about it.
Yes.
But we're very, very excited because we're going to be discussing the topic today between the two of us, the death of the former self. So we're going to both dive in very, very deep with that. But before we do that, I'd like to catch up with Kristina. So Kristina, how are you and what have you been up to?
I'm doing well. I just a couple weeks ago went on this fun trip to the East Coast. Did a lot of fun things. Let's see what else. Let's see. I got my first tattoo.
Come on, you've got to tell us about that.
I
And
did.
yeah, come on.
Yeah,
How did that go?
it's something I've been mulling over for a while.
Okay.
Because it's a memorial tattoo for my son. So I needed to make sure that I was emotionally in a place where I could do it.
Yeah.
And prior to leaving on the trip, a friend of mine had been having some health issues, but she needed to drive from her Wisconsin home back to her Maine home, her home in Maine. I should probably clarify
Yes, I'm
that.
glad you did.
Her home in Maine. And so I rode along with her, and then I flew home after she got to where she was going. So it was a lot of fun. We had some grand adventures, but I had stopped at this place where I do readings in Pennsylvania, Full Circle Body Art. And it's a combination tattoo, piercing, and metaphysical store. So it's like this interesting combination.
One-stop
And
shop, like it.
yeah, one-stop shop. Yeah. And on the way there, I just felt it. It was time to do it. And so I had this wonderful woman who does tattoo, and she did such an amazing job. I think I might have sent you a picture of it. But it's a sea turtle, and it is the logo for my son's YouTube channel that he had.
Oh.
So that's why I chose that one, is to honor him and the work that he was doing as a water protector and also as a gamer, because he used the same logo for both the water protection stuff that he was doing and the gaming channel. So I now have a sea turtle on my left leg.
Oh, that is amazing. What a fitting
Yeah.
tribute as well.
Yeah.
And you did send me the picture, and I was impressed how detailed it was. And it looked quite a big piece.
It
How
is
big
like
would you say?
as big as my hand. Like, yeah, it's pretty big.
And I believe you never swore once whilst you was having it done. Am I
Well, I'm
correct?
not going to say that, but I didn't cry.
Wow. It's
And my friend who I was traveling with,
yeah.
she was she was right there and holding my hand, and I'm afraid I may have fractured a finger or two, but she no, I didn't. I didn't. Um, but I was squeezing her hand pretty hard. And we were just talking and joking through it. So I got through it fairly well. And she did that whole big tattoo in like 20 minutes.
Wow.
Like,
She's a
I know
skilled artist. Yeah.
she's a very skilled artist and very fast. Yeah. So
Fantastic. So you did that. Was you on a road trip, did you say?
we were on a road
Yeah.
trip. Yeah. So I did some readings that day and then got a tattoo.
Wow. You don't get much more rock and roll than that, do you?
I know, right? Right. So yeah, and then we were off to New York and we did some mining. We went mining for Herkimer diamonds. And I found a few of them, so that was cool.
Scroll back, scroll back. It's not a conversation starter that we have in the UK. You went mining for diamonds.
Diamonds, yeah, Herkimer diamonds, which are
Okay.
double pointed quartz crystals. Super, very,
Nice.
very clear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, And so they have this a couple of places. It's the only place in the world that these particular crystals even exist. So they have these public diamond places where you can go in and mine for Herkimer diamonds. And they're not like the regular diamonds like you would have in a ring.
Hmm.
They're usually about this big and just double terminated. So and it was fun, they hand you a little sledgehammer, not a big sledgehammer, a little sledgehammer, and you can go out
I
and beat on rocks
ho,
and
I
hey
ho.
ho. Yep. So we went out there and we beat on some rocks and pulled out some druzy, which is little, it's before they'd grow into the big ones. There's like little pockets of, I can send you pictures.
Yeah,
I
wow,
don't
it
know how
sounds
to describe
incredible.
it.
So,
Yeah,
it, is this used with the spiritual work, or can you use it for jewelry, or both? I mean, how?
both. You can use it for
Wow.
both. Yeah.
So, did you feel the energy
Oh
on
yeah.
the diamonds when you was
Yeah.
mining them?
Yes. And then we stayed that night. It that diamond mine is part of a campground too. So we stayed at the campground, which is along this beautiful river, and we had a cabin right along the river and a fire pit. So we did, it was also on the night of the new moon, I believe it was. So we did we drew pictures of what we wanted to release, and then we drew pictures of what we wanted to manifest. And we burned the pictures of what we wanted to release. And then she had a couple of smudge sticks that she had made. So we wrapped up the things that we wanted to manifest in this around the smudge sticks and burned those as well. So we did a ceremony that night too. So
Wow.
that was really cool. Yeah.
Sounds like you had some precious memories there with that trip.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. And how long did you go for?
5 days. So the next day was when we
Awesome.
went and checked out a haunted location that's for sale and
Mm.
did a little investigation. Met a couple of my
Just a
team
little
members there.
investigation,
Just a
you
little
know.
invest.
What? Tell us
Yeah.
more about that. That sounds
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Well, it was built in 1919 and it was a TB hospital, tuberculosis hospital. And after the tuberculosis hospital closed, it sat empty for a while, and then a Bible college bought it. So it was a Bible college for a number of years. And then they sold it to a private high school that had, it was for um, the children of parents who work at like embassies from around the world.
Okay.
So it was a residential school for kids from all over the world who lived in this place. And they only used a small part of the building. They only had like 18 students or something. But so now it's for sale again. And so we got to go explore.
I can only assume with all of those different uses, the energy
Oh, it was
left in
crazy.
that building, all the thoughts. I mean, if you think of some of those children, if their parents are all over the world doing the work and they're left there, all that
Hmm.
anxiety, that confusion, that, ooh.
Yeah.
And then
Well, they
obviously
were
the
all high school
Bible.
students. I should say that
Okay.
they were all teenagers. So
All
they
right.
weren't
So,
like little kids. They
yeah,
were teenagers. So not quite as disturbing.
dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really interesting because the library from the Bible college is still there and intact. Like all of these Christian books and stuff, like huge library. And then there's still like algebra books in some of the classrooms. There's still
As if,
artworks in some of the classrooms and art supplies in some of the it's really
as
interesting,
if
all the
they
stuff that was
just
left behind.
left and went. That I
Yeah.
love places like that. It kind of
Hmm.
tells a story, doesn't it?
It does.
Before you even investigate it. So, wow,
Yeah. Yeah.
sounds like you've been very busy, very
Yes,
busy
and then
indeed.
we wound it up in Salem.
Oh, as you do,
As we
and
do in Salem, Massachusetts. Yep. And
yeah, how
met
was
with
that?
it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, we met up for breakfast with some of the people who also have shows on All Access Network Television, which you and I have a show on, with
Yeah.
Paramystic Podcast. So I met up with Jeremy and Raven, and Jeremy's wife was there. She's a lovely lady, and my friend was there. And so we had a really nice breakfast together, and then went and explored the harbor a bit, and went to a store. I don't remember the name of it, but it was really cool. I was taking pictures of the interior because I'm like, I could decorate like this, but it was like black chandeliers
Oh,
rather
nice.
than like gold or silver. They were
Yeah.
black chandeliers with like orange lights, and yeah, it was fun.
Am
So,
I
yeah.
right in saying that's where the Salem witch trials took
Yes.
place?
Yes.
And also, have they a statue of, is it Elizabeth Montgomery from
Yes.
Bewitched there in that
Yes.
location?
Yes.
Wow. And did you see any of those artifacts when you were
I
there?
had been there before,
Okay.
so I had seen those before, but on this trip it was more about connecting with friends. So
Yeah. Oh, wow. That sounds epic.
it was a lot of fun. It was epic. My friend got home safely and happy, and yeah, so it was good.
Fantastic. Well, as you probably know, and probably my audience know, I've been busy with the three jobs that I do, and I've mentioned it before on the lives. And
Hmm.
yeah, one of the other jobs I do is I perform and sing. So I drum and sing, and I've been doing a lot of that, a lot of gigs and playing up and down. I would say mainly Yorkshire, Nottinghamshire, a little bit of Leicestershire in the UK, and that's been filling my heart with joy doing that. So I've been doing that, teaching as well, a lot of teaching, and channeling with spirit as well. That's been interesting. I have found that they're enjoying talking to me on a daily basis now, because when I set off to do the, as I call it, it's probably the wrong terminology, the muggle job that I have to do to keep food on the table. Um,
Right.
I say good morning to them when I'm on my way there, and they have a little conversation. They gave me some advice, and everything that they say is going to unfold that day. It does. And so
Mm.
it's marvelous when, and they say, we really appreciate you doing this, taking time out before you start work to just say good morning and that. And says, well, of
Mhm.
course, we're a team. So I've been doing
Right.
a lot of that, and it's nice to have that
Nice.
interaction with them. So we didn't do an episode last month because
Right.
you were busy, I were busy, and it was hard to, get the calendars linked together. So
Right.
hopefully, no pressure, but hopefully we can make up for that in this week's episode or this month's
Yes.
episode.
Go team.
And yeah, so what we're talking about today is the death of the former self. Dun, dun,
Yeah. Dun.
dun. So let's just describe what we're talking about with this. As we know, we all are in a constant change state.
Hmm.
And in order to flourish and grow, we have to let part of that version that no longer serves us go. So basically, in a nutshell, we're diving deep with this topic. So, as I say, we're all in a constant state of change. It is inevitable. We all
Hmm.
grow, we all evolve. And obviously, there's that toing and froing. No, I don't want to do that. Yes, I want to do that. And it just sat in the middle there. Is
Yeah.
there anywhere in your life where you've sat in the middle and you've got to make a change, but you're thinking, I don't want to. I like it here. I'm comfortable. I like this part of my life. Have you ever experienced that?
You know, I don't know that I have.
Oh, okay.
I've always been someone I would think if it's any time in my life, it's right now. But I've always been somebody who's always like the next thing, the next thing, the next thing.
Yeah.
Like I have written books that I don't promote, and I don't promote them because I think that they're great books, and I think everyone should read them. But I did it, so that part's done. So now I'm moving on to the next thing. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
it's like
get
I'm
you.
always
Yeah.
moving forward, 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 and I've always kind of been that way. I would say though that like the death of my former self, probably the biggest one was when I stopped drinking.
Oh, okay. That takes a
So
lot of courage to break a cycle there as well,
right,
to get
right.
out of that.
And I was 17 when I quit drinking. So
Wow.
Yeah.
You've done really, really well because of the pressures of adulthood, probably globally as well. Drinking is, promoted, isn't it? And it's set
It
to be,
is.
be the normal. And if you don't do that and you're
Oh,
invited out and people are like, go on, just have one, you'll be all right. Join in with us. So
yeah.
to stay
So
away
for
from
some of
that.
us, one doesn't work that well. But the other
Yeah.
thing is like our state motto is drink Wisconsinably. Okay. Like literally, Wisconsin drinkers are not allowed to drink in global drinking contests. Okay.
Wow.
So I live in a state where it's not only promoted, like the Tavern League runs this state. It's insane. So like, every state around us has legalized marijuana, right? Not Wisconsin because the Tavern League is too powerful. They don't want the
Oh,
competition.
okay. Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. There's actually a gentleman from the UK named Jace who has a TikTok where he talks about it. Like, Wisconsin, do you need an intervention? Yes. So, yeah, it is something like that. But really, quitting drinking was probably the first time that I grieved my former
Okay.
self,
Yeah.
where I grieved the one thing that had brought me comfort because it was no longer working. I had to leave it behind.
Wow.
So that would be for me the probably the one pivotal thing where left behind my former self. The other things would be the four near-death experiences that I've had, and I know that we've done
Just
a
the
show on
four?
that.
Was
Just the
that it?
four,
Just the
just the
four?
four.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, like, we
Wow.
did a show on that
We did, and
actually.
it was
Yeah,
amazing. My jaw was
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Most of the-
But every time that I have died and come back, I'm literally leaving an old me behind because you can't go through an experience like that and come back not changed.
Hmm.
It really changes who you are. Like you can't see that scope of existence, I guess, off-planet existence or whatever, however you want to put that, and not have it change who you are. It's too big. So I would say that those were the five things where I can look at it and say, yeah, that's where I left myself behind. That's where I left an old piece of me behind, an old part of me.
Wow.
And then there's the constant growth, as we're going through life and we're learning and we're changing and we're growing, but those don't stand out to me as much as those others.
I've got to say, my curious mind is saying, when you went through those near-death experiences, were
Mhm.
there any guidance or suggestions from anything or anyone, the other side, that said, well, you're going back, but on one condition, you have this to fulfill, you've got that to fulfill. Was there any of that was
Well,
experienced?
kind of, because
Okay.
I was not invested in coming back. They had to make me come back.
Whoa.
Um, I died of a drug overdose at 14,
Whoa.
and I was in a coma for 4 days, arguing with them because I did not want to go back. So my body was in a coma state while I was arguing with whoever was not letting me in. So yeah, it was for me, it was the other way around. They're like, you have to
Wow.
go back. I do not want to go back. You have to go back. You're not done yet. I am so done. I am not going back. That was really the conversation that was happening. So yeah, that was weird. But
Well, I'm
uh,
so glad they were insistent on that because look at all the amazing things that you've done in your life after that event.
that's true. That's
And
true.
what a
I'm very
beautiful
blessed.
impact you've had on the world since
Well, thank you.
that time. Yeah. And amazing children as well, amazing family.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be having this conversation if that had happened.
Well, we might, but it would be different.
I'd be channeling you. You'd be,
You'd be channeling me.
well, Well, for me, I can't compete with that by no means.
There's no competition. It's
I
just
know
we
that.
all have our own
I
story.
know. But for me, something that was a massive turning point, and it might sound absolutely ridiculous in contrast,
There
is
is no contrast.
it was about sort of 18, 19 years ago. And I had really, really long hair. As you may remember me speaking to you about that. And I loved it. It was my pride and joy. It was what I was known for. It gave me something to hide behind. Um, people didn't approach you because they stood away slightly and, not saying hello. And it was a great, great tool to have in my life, having the long hair.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't so great for my plug hole in the bathroom,
No.
but nevertheless, it was a great tool. And anyway, there came a part where when I used to go to the hairdressers and have some highlights put in, they go round the back with a mirror, don't they? And they show you, yes, oh, we've done this, we've straightened it for you, it looks lovely. And one time I noticed they ducked the mirror slightly when they were showing me around the back, and I managed to capture a little patch at the back of my head where some of that lovely hair was falling out. And I was like, did I just see that? Oh my word. And from that moment onwards, I got this sense of anxiety. I was losing sleep. I was thinking, oh no, but I love what I do. And in the end, I got really fed up of this loss of sleep, anxiety, and I just knew it had to go. I couldn't cope with having that anxiety any longer. And I had to rid myself of that long hair, shaved it all off, right to how it is now. In fact, I've still got the ponytail in a bag somewhere upstairs, still preserved, a little plait in it, about that sort of length. Um, but do you know what? It took me a while to get used to that transition because I was walking around, I wouldn't look people in the eye, and I felt really exposed to the world because it'd been
Mm-hmm.
my shield, my protection mechanism, and part of my identity, the best part of my life.
Yeah.
So quite literally, I had to let go of that old image, that old support mechanism of that hair to hide behind and use as and I had to start to confront life again by saying, this is me, this is who I am, this is what I do. You don't have to have long hair to like rock music.
Mm-hmm.
It's music is a feeling, it's in your heart, it's part of
Right.
you. And so it taught me that valuable lesson. And after I did that, I got lots of sleep, my anxiety was gone, confidence returned, and it was amazing transformation. But when I was on the cusp of making that decision, I know it sounds ridiculous in comparison there.
It does not sound
Um,
ridiculous. No,
but
it doesn't.
I was like, I would get snappy, irritable, agitated because I knew I had to make this decision. Only I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to, but I knew I had to. It was either that or have the biggest comb over in the world has ever seen. I'd probably be in the Guinness Book of Records for epic blonde comb overs. And I didn't want that. So for me, I had to wrestle with that decision, let that old version of myself go, literally, as well. And yeah, life changed for me after that moment, and I gained confidence as well. And I just, didn't hide behind anything from that moment onwards. So very
I
interesting.
love that.
Mm.
I love that.
Excuse me. Going on from that, I would say when we're in that position where we know that we need to make a decision and it is frustrating, I
Mm-hmm.
would say that we're only harming and hurting ourselves by
Yeah.
staying in that position as we are resisting the flow of our life. And we can feel that energy, can't we? We can feel it
Oh, we can, yes.
building up, and ugh,
Right.
it's a horrible position to be in, but it's part of life's rich tapestry, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Having to make a decision where we know that it's going to change us. We know
We
in
feel
our
it. Yeah.
hearts that it's going to change us. That can be scary because I remember thinking at different points, what if it changes me into somebody I don't like? You know, what if I don't like that person I'm going to become? And I mean, that was when I was much younger and didn't fully understand that I got to change into the person I wanted to be. Right. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it can be scary when you're giving up part of yourself, or it feels like you're giving up part of yourself when you're outgrowing, I don't know what other animal does this, so I'm going to use snake, but they outgrow their skin, so they shed their
Yeah.
skin, right? We do the same thing, except that we do it emotionally and hopefully mentally and spiritually as well.
Yes, definitely. I remember going back some years when I went through the divorce. It's a
Hmm.
constant source of example giving, if that's the
Hmm.
right terms for me to use.
Yes.
But I remember somebody saying to me when I was going through all of that, they said, um, Glenn, don't ever change, will you? Don't change the way you are. Obviously, when you go through something as dramatic as that,
It
it's
does
going to
change
have
you.
a massive impact on you.
Hmm.
And so it was inevitable, really, that I had to move and wade through that frustration, that confusion, in order to get to pastures new and to appreciate the version of myself that is in front of you now. I didn't realize this
Right.
part of me existed, but it was there hiding behind long blonde hair and hiding, behind a persona that worked for everybody else, but didn't necessarily work for my higher self there.
Right.
So I find it's fascinating when people use that and they say, don't ever change, because we're all changing, aren't we, in every single
That is a
moment.
red flag, isn't it? Don't ever change.
Yeah,
Why? Why? How are you benefiting from how I am now that you don't want me to change? Like that's what
exactly.
triggers in my head. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
how is this benefiting you that I'm however I am, whether that's emotionally dependent, codependent, easily manipulated, whatever, I know that in my life, throughout my life, if someone didn't want me to change, it was because they were benefiting from the way that I was.
I've got to agree with that observation. Yeah, the time I was, happy go lucky. I
Hmm.
would help anybody and anybody. There was no specific boundaries. Somebody'd ring me up. Oh, I need your help with this. Yeah, of course I can. No problem.
Hmm.
Um, excuse me. I need a cough button, I think. It
Take
may
a
be
drink of water.
triggering me. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, yeah, what I was saying is there was no specific boundaries in that area of my life.
Hmm.
And so through that gift of change, it allowed me to see what was missing in my life, what was making me feel the way I felt, and what was stopping me from being this true version of myself that you see here today. So,
Right.
yeah, it's amazing how we have these different gifts of contrast, as I like to call them,
Yeah.
that at the time when we're going through them, we're cursing them, we're angry, we're frustrated. Why me? Whereas
Yeah.
with the gift of time and healing, I then sort of look at it, well, why me? Why not? It's an opportunity to grow and expand
Right.
and learn, isn't it?
Why not you? Why not
Yeah.
me?
Why
Yeah.
not? Yeah. Why not indeed?
And I think these little micro changes that we go through too, as we're growing and, um, I can look back now from maybe 2 years ago where I would sit and listen to somebody on the phone, and I'm not talking about a client, I'm talking about like a friend, right?
Hmm.
And they would just complain for like 2 hours, and when they were done, I had to take a nap. You know,
I can
I
believe
don't
that.
allow that to continue anymore. It's like, well, gotta go. See ya. If it's someone who isn't willing to listen to,
Yeah.
okay, can we look at the positives here? Well, I don't have any positives, and no, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I will help you process through whatever you need to process through. That's fine, but I'm not going to sit there and listen to you whine for 2 hours.
No, no, not at all. But in many respects, I mean, what you were doing there is being a space holder for that individual, a bit like a counselor in many respects, where
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But the toll
usually,
it took on me was too much.
yeah, usually in
Yeah.
those sessions, they would find their own solutions because they've talked it
Right.
out. But like you say,
Right.
in those situations where they're sort of self-absorbed to such a level that they're not finding that solution with you holding space for them, then I
Right.
agree. Yeah, it's that time you have to say, well, okay, I love you, but I will leave you until you're in a place to understand
Right.
that
Right.
inspiration.
And one of the hardest things for me has been learning that some people are better loved from a distance. Like they
Yeah,
haven't earned a seat at the table because they're not changing the behaviors that are
yeah,
destructive to other people and themselves. And I'm sure that other people have felt like that about me at certain points in my life, because I wasn't always who I am today. I had to grow into who I am today. And ideally, I will keep growing into who I will be tomorrow.
exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I would say, we have to allow ourselves to go through this process of grieving the former
Yeah.
version of ourselves because, as we were saying earlier, it can be very comfortable. We don't want to change. We like everything here, but it's just not serving our highest good. It's having an impact on those people around us. It's not
Hmm.
serving them. And, so we have to allow ourselves to process these old ways of thinking, old ways of feeling.
Right.
So, with that being the case, um, how do you process grief where it comes to, self development and expansion?
I think self-forgiveness has been a huge part of that for me, where I have I kind of do this thing where I separate myself out into two people and I have a talk with myself like I'm having with you and just say, you know what, this has been a good run, but I have to let you go. I can't, it's not helping us to do this. And I feel like, I also do soul retrievals where I bring back missing parts, but sometimes we have to say goodbye to some of the behaviors. And for me, sometimes it's easier to do that by thinking of that behavior as a persona to say goodbye to, if that makes any
It
sense at
does
all.
make sense.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
I align with what you're saying there. Yeah, it helps us to let go of it, doesn't it? And
Hmm.
what's departmentalize? Is that
Yeah.
that phrase? But I was interested
Compartmentalize.
what you just skirted over very casually about doing soul retrieval and bringing
Oh, yeah.
elements of the self that maybe hasn't transitioned into this body correctly. So, can you
Right.
talk us through that a little bit? Because I was intrigued
Yeah.
when that came up.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I'm not sure at what point this actually developed with me to do a soul retrieval. I felt at some point like something was missing and I didn't know exactly how to do that. So I sat down with my guides, my spirit guides, like I do, and asked them, what is going on here? Why do I keep making the same mistakes I was making when I was 18, 20, 22? Why do I keep doing that? And the answer that came back is that because part of you is still stuck there. Part of
Wow.
you is still stuck there trying to figure out whatever it was. And I'm sure it had something to do with some kind of messed up relationship. So I was like, okay, then how do I heal that? How do I fix that? And the solution that they had, that my guides had, was we're going to bring that part of you back and integrate it into who you are now. That was profound. That was
Yeah, that's beautiful.
very, very profound. And I also did an inpatient, 5 days in a hospital in a group setting for adult children of alcoholics. I grew up in an alcoholic home. It was violent. It was ugly. And parts of my inner child were still stuck there. And they did a guided meditation where we were supposed to go back into our childhood home, tuck our inner child into bed, tell them that they're safe and they're okay. And I'm like, screw that. I grabbed my little girl and ran with her and brought her back with me. And that was such a profound healing for me, to be able to rescue my younger self and let her know that you're safe now. You're safe with me because I
Mm.
didn't leave you back there with that mess. I brought you home. And that was really profound. So that is something that I offer people, is that I help them bring back the parts of themselves that were hurt, that were discarded, that were injured, that were left behind, to integrate, to heal our souls.
That is incredible. And what a beautiful
Yeah.
service that you provide. Because I know that from personal experience and observations, that, a lot of us blank elements out of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and we put them to one side in our mind and we forget about them. And all it will take is either a smell, piece of music, somebody speaking, or a certain
Mm-hmm.
word to trigger that memory, that version that we think we've deleted from our existence, for
Right.
us to relive that again. And that can, like you were saying there, we can relive that trauma and those
Mm-hmm.
experiences, and that can have an impact on our now moment consciousness. So the fact that you help clients to go back to those points in their lives, and to make peace with them, to heal them, and to bring those pieces back to their present moment, that's such a beautiful
Right.
gift that you have to do
Right.
that.
So those of us who struggled with our parentage, let's say, um, we can bring our inner children back to us, and we can be the safe adult. We can be the safe parent who protects those inner children. And it really is an amazing process, because it takes sometimes 3 to 5 to 7 days to actually integrate that inner child back into ourselves. It
Mm.
literally feels like you're carrying around a child for a few days. It's very interesting how that all works, but integrating that back in and becoming a whole person. There were years when I did not show emotion because that little girl was still frozen in a place where emotion was life-threatening,
Wow.
where I couldn't be that spontaneous person because it wasn't safe. But once I brought her back and she felt safe here in the present with me, then I could become more of who I am. I could let that child play more. I could be more of who I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be this easygoing, flowing person. And as you know, I'm not always that easygoing, flowing person. Sometimes I'm all nose to the grindstone, but I now have the ability to have humor. I now have the ability to be light and airy and relax into who I am, where until I could rescue my inner child, I wasn't able to do that.
Wow, that's
So it was
beautiful.
very healing, very healing.
If I may share this, I'm talking a good couple of years ago now when this happened. My guide suggested that I just go and lay on the top of my bed just to rest, sit in the power, close my eyes. And as I did so, I didn't know what I was going to experience. But anyway, they took me on a journey, on a soul path journey. And I went right back to when I was around 4 to 5 years old. And back then, I was painfully shy. Wouldn't say anything to anybody, wouldn't get involved in anything, didn't like
Mhm.
attention. Um, and anyway, I was taken back to that area of my life. This time, though, I saw it not only from my own eyes, my own perspective, how I was feeling, but I also saw what an impact that had on those people around me, what feelings it made them feel, how they were seeing and perceiving me in that moment. And so I was experiencing almost like a life review, if you like,
Mhm.
of that area of my life. And so I got to feel those feelings of how uncomfortable I made people feel by myself not getting involved or speaking up in class, or, you know, not sharing, not opening up, and how frustrating that was for other
Mm.
people. And within that experience, it was almost like a meditation, which was supervised, and it was handled with care from my spirit guides, because they took me right back to that timeline. I could smell the smells, what was happening there, could hear the sounds. I was experiencing everything that happened in that area. I then, from my consciousness in this, timeline, well, 2 years ago, I then spoke to this version of myself that was 4 to 5 years old. And I said, come on, you'll be all right. You know, be yourself, speak up. You can say hello to them. They're not going to bite you. They're not going to hurt you. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
laugh at you. You're safe. Say hello. And with talking to this version of myself, like you've said as well, my guides were guiding me through this process.
Mm-hmm.
It had an instant impact into this version of myself,
Yes.
where I came out of that situation feeling just an embodiment of love, of oneness. I came out of that situation grinning like a Cheshire cat.
Mm-hmm.
I had, I would say, more confidence within me. I could speak to anybody, go to a shop and say, "You all right, mate? How are you going?" Not a problem anymore. Whereas in my adult life, even though I would do that anyway, there was always something inside of me that would try and pause me from doing that, making that
Yeah.
interaction ahead of doing it. And I was sort of told at the time that this was why it was the old former version of myself, still trapped inside, needed that support, needed that healing. So
Yeah.
to experience that and just be guided by my guides to, just lie on top of your bed with no inclination what they had arranged for me to experience. It was incredible. And I
It
suppose in
does.
many respects, they say that everything is happening now. It's all happening now.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look back and we think, well, I was 4 then, but now, I'm X. I'm not going to give my age away again.
You've already given your age away
I
so
know.
many times.
But, when people say you look 24, I'll take that all day long.
That's right.
Obviously, I don't. But yeah, what was my point? My point was like, yeah, it has an impact on who you are now,
It does. Yeah.
because there's no such thing as time. It's all happening now. So
Mm-hmm.
what you invest in now as well, you'll also be paying it forward, but now.
Exactly.
So going through
Exactly.
that grieving process, that healing process, letting that go, I feel is very important. Otherwise, you'll stay bitter, angry, frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what did you learn from your experiences then, going through the death of the former self?
That's an interesting question. I think what I learned is that I'm okay to be me no matter what. If I'm having a
Yeah.
bad day, I'm still okay to be me. If I'm not feeling well, I'm still okay to be me. If I'm having a 100% day, where I can go and do and whatever, that's okay. I don't have to be the same thing every day. I don't have to be on an even keel all the time. And in childhood, I learned if I'm not on an even keel, that's a problem for other people. So I needed to always be just, it's like my mom has even said, like, when I was a kid, I didn't speak up unless I thought it was really, really, really important. Like, I just wouldn't, because anytime I did, there was a consequence. And I learned how to not speak up. But the other part of that is I was also a psychic child. So I would see and hear things other people weren't seeing and hearing, and had a fear of speaking up about it. because if I spoke up about things people could see and hear, that was a problem. So it was kind of that I didn't really know what to do, you know?
Mm.
And I spent a lot of my adulthood like that too, like not really knowing what to do, like not being afraid to say something because maybe somebody didn't know that they were putting out that kind of energy, or, and I don't really know how to answer that question, but leaving that old self behind, I've moved into an era, and maybe it's my age, maybe it's everything I've lived through and not lived through, and then lived through, and then not lived through, and then lived through.
Mm.
Maybe it's all of those experiences that just brought me to a point where I'm going to speak my mind, and if you don't like it, that's not my problem.
It's quite a
you know?
healthy response. That, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I don't think I'm rude about it, but I also don't allow people to treat me poorly. So, yeah.
I like that. I would say for myself, the
Yeah.
similarities there. Um, just be. And I'm reminded constantly by my guides that whenever you're feeling stuck, frustrated, just focus on the word or meditate on the word is. It just
Yeah.
is. Everything is. And that puts you right in your present moment consciousness where that anxiety from the past or maybe future moments that haven't happened yet have just gone. And you're just being here now, observing what you're observing, and you're just
Mhm.
in that state. And in that position, this is where you can make some incredible discoveries for one. And for another, this is where you can use that power that maybe you haven't done up until this point, and you can
Yeah.
make choices that will
Mhm.
have such a dramatic impact, a positive one on your life. But focusing on the word is, I think, and what my guides have said, this will just change your life dramatically. It will
Yeah.
get you out of sticky situations. You'll have a tolerance and understanding for everybody around you, that we're all learning, we're all growing. And if we can just hold that vibration in the now moment, then this is where we will flourish and grow. And also, we stop resisting change. And I think
Right.
that's half the struggle, isn't it, with going through the death or the grieving process. Excuse me, my phone's clearly not on silent, which I thought it was. So it's made its day. So maybe, yeah, that was telling me to shut up. So I'll take that prompt
Okay.
and I'll put this out to you. So,
Yeah.
is there any advice for people that are going through this process at this moment? Because I don't know about you, but it seems to be happening. I know it happens all the time, but it's more obvious now than ever.
So many more people going through
Mm.
it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we are in this state of great awakening, the shift isn't coming anymore. It's here. It's, and we've been walking through the shift, which I don't know about you. Some days it feels like walking through like an earthquake or something, where like everything is shifting so quickly all at once. But I would just say that the advice is trust yourself. Trust yourself. Trust how you feel. Ask yourself the question when you're going through something, ask yourself, how do I really feel about this?
Mm.
Because that's a question that we were kind of taught not to ask ourselves, as a societal thing, at least here. I assume there too, but maybe I shouldn't. But, it's like as kids, we aren't taught to honor those feelings. We aren't taught to ask ourselves, how do you feel? We aren't necessarily taught, you do what you're told to do, and that's it. You
Mm.
just don't question it. But I think a lot of people are questioning it. They're asking themselves, how does this make me feel? Do I enjoy this? And that can be everything from television shows. I think you had mentioned one time about, watching murder mysteries, and how does that make you feel? How does that enhance your life, or how does it make it not enhanced?
Yeah.
How do paying attention to how do I feel in this moment has been such a game changer for me. because I do it even with interactions with people. It's like, how do I feel after that interaction? And that also is taking accountability for myself. Did I do
Mm.
or say something that I didn't feel comfortable with, that maybe I need to go back and make amends for? Asking myself, how do I feel about this particular interaction? How do I feel about um, watching this? What is this doing to my energy? If I'm watching something on TV, what's it doing to my energy? And really paying attention to how you feel. That's really the bottom line. How is this making me feel?
I like that. Some great advice. And you're quite right. As a society, we're kind of taught to use the intellect and
Yeah.
logic and have that the governing factor. And if it's not a tangible thing, then you're crazy, you're making it up. Where you getting that information from? Is it backed up by anything?
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
would agree. Yeah,
So what is
connecting
your
in.
advice?
My advice would be, again, we said it earlier about being present, being in the
Mm-hmm.
is state of consciousness, and to be kind to yourself, because
Yeah.
we're often, again, it's promoted by TV, social media, that we look over our shoulder and see what our neighbors are doing or our colleagues are doing
Mm-hmm.
and their life, and they've got this beautiful life, and we're like, oh, I wish I had that. Well, stop doing that, for one, because you're only tormenting yourself, and
Right.
start being kind to yourself, and just be here now, be loving, do things that align with your soul, that make you feel happy and content. And that magic word goes out there again. Learn to say no to things that take
Yeah.
you out of that feeling, that feel good factor. And instantly, by doing that, you'll notice that this degree of change that we're talking about, this former self, will naturally drop by the wayside, like you said earlier, like a snake releasing its old skin there,
Yeah.
shedding that skin. It will just naturally happen. But it's only when we're conscious of the process, then this is where we can get agitated, triggered, irritable, nasty, stuck, not wanting to move forward because we're
Right.
conscious that it's happening. But if you're in a state of grace and peace and being here now,
Mm-hmm.
being present, then it will be a seamless process in my experience.
I
And I would
agree.
say, as well, to add to the advice, a lot of people look back at the former version of themselves and they'll say, I can't believe I used to be like that. Can you believe I used to do that? And you say this. In a way, that version of yourself still exists because
Mm-hmm.
everything's happening here and now. So
Right.
why not reframe that and say, I send that version of myself so much love and respect for going through those circumstances, because without
Right.
that version of myself doing that, taking one for the team, if you will, I wouldn't have made the lifestyle choices that have got me to this position where I am now. So,
Right.
as the old saying goes, everything is here to serve us. It's for our highest good. So to start and chastise those, shall we call them, fragments of our timeline,
Right.
will
Right.
only pull our present moment energy and consciousness down to that level. So it will have the reverse effect, obviously, if we show it love, compassion, kindness, gratitude. And like the experience I shared when I was a child, going deep there,
Mm-hmm.
that had a dramatic shift on my vibration and energy with doing that, showing that love, that respect, that gratitude. So I would say change the way that you're referring to versions of yourself, put it more in a positive light, and you'll instantly make a change within your present moment consciousness.
Right.
And people will notice it because you'll have a different energy about you. You'll be more calmer. You'll have a glow about you. It can even have a dramatic change on your physical appearance with your skin, your eyes sparkling, luster in your hair there as well.
Right.
It does change us, doesn't it, when we're more loving and more kind to all facets of ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am going to misquote somebody here, and I don't know who it is,
Okay.
but I
That's
have
normally
heard.
my job. You're taking my job.
Sorry.
It's
It
all
popped
right.
into my head. I have a brain cell at the moment. So um, we change when we stop accepting things that insult our soul.
Oh, say that slower, just so that this little thick brain can absorb it.
We change when we stop accepting things that insult our soul.
I like it. It has a
Yeah.
resonance about it, doesn't
I
it?
wish I
As
knew who to
well.
credit, but I don't. I
Mm.
apologize to whoever that is.
The universe. You've
The
covered everything and
universe.
everyone
Yeah.
then.
Yes. To whichever vessel that pearl of wisdom came through.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I would end this conversation today by just stating again, it's an old saying, but when one door closes in our life, no matter how bleak or whatever we're going
Yeah.
through at the time, it's because it's there to serve us, because there's a new opportunity, a new door opening. It's going to
Right.
take us on a new chapter in our life, but only we can decide which door to go through.
Mm-hmm. And
Mm.
sometimes we have to build the door.
Oh, that's taking it a step forward. I like that.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't see a door, so we have to build one.
Yes, I like that. Create our own opportunities
Yeah.
by moving out the way.
Yes.
Love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been such an amazing conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been very deep, very insightful. And thank you also
Yeah.
for opening up and sharing facets of yourself with the
Oh, yeah.
audience there, because that takes a lot of bravery, a lot of courage to do that. And it's going to encourage other people to do the same and heal and go through that same process. So, Kristina, I'd like to ask you how people can maybe book one of these sessions that you talked about the soul
Oh,
retrieval, because that is amazing.
absolutely.
I'm sure you will help loads of people. How people can book in with your spiritual development classes, and where can they find you? What are you up to over this month? The
Yeah,
floor
a
is
lot of
yours.
stuff going on. Okay. Well, you can make an appointment with me through my website, KristinaBloom.com. Um, you just scroll down on the main page, and at the bottom of the page is a form to fill out to request an appointment, because my schedule changes a lot with my grandson, and, sometimes I have childcare, and regular office hours just don't seem to work for me. So you get to put in a request, and then I get to either accept it or ask you to change it. So um, that's how you would make an appointment with me. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Let's just stick with those three for now. So Kristina L. Bloom, if you're looking for my personal page. Otherwise, I have a business page, Kristina Bloom Spiritual Advisor. I also have a group called Kristina Bloom Your Spiritual Advisor. So you can find me in any of those places. I have my show on Wednesday mornings that Glenn is a co-host on, and that is Paramystic Podcast with Kristina Bloom. I have books for sale on my website. I didn't want him to call me out on that, so I called myself out first. I do have 2 books for sale that are on my website. Again, on the main page, just scroll down. I teach online classes this month on the 27th of May. It will be a psychic and mediumship message circle. So that'll be a lot of fun for people. Everybody who comes gets to practice giving and receiving messages. So, yeah, that's what I've got
Wow.
going on. Oh, and I've got this coming weekend, I will be in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I'm sure nobody in England even knows where that is, but I'll be up there with the Hodags doing a psychic fair that weekend. And then the Bearded Brothers Brawl at Broadhead Manor in Wisconsin on June 6th. It is a children's charity event. So I want to make sure lots of people know about that.
Sounds absolutely fantastic. I am going to, however, pull you up on something, because you
Uh-oh.
did forget to mention your
I
merch store
did.
that you have, where
Oh,
you've got
why
some
do I always
amazing
forget my
booty to
merch?
share with people.
Seriously, yeah. My merch store is Pure Intuitive Magic at printify.me. And all of everything on that store, with the exception of Into the Void merch, is my own design. That one is mine and Glenn's design together. You can get clothing or cups with my logo on it, with the beautiful lotus flower with the K in it. I have my photography has been what do you showcased? Like, you can literally buy a shower curtain with my photography on it. Like, it is the whole shower curtain is like a lighthouse or a beach or whatever. So yeah, on my merch site, uh, Pure Intuitive Magic at printify.me.
That sounds
So
incredible. Just asking for a friend.
yeah,
Do you do backdrops of these beautiful photographs, that people can use on lives, that sort of thing?
I should. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I could use one of those.
Yeah, snap. I was about to put an order in with you.
Awesome. I will accept your order with grace and gratitude.
Excellent.
What do you got coming up? What are you
Well,
doing?
for me, more of the band work, lots of gigs coming up,
Yeah.
very busy with that. Teaching online as well. There's some opportunities for online readings. Anybody that's wanting any of those things can head over to my website, www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com. You can check my availability and book in with me directly there. You can also find me on all of the social media platforms. Just head over to my bio on that platform, and you can click on that link and you can book in with me there. I have 3 books on offer that are available. The latest book is available in audio format only. So if you are into, listening, learning on the go, then that would be for you. There's lots of sound healing albums, there's guided meditations, affirmational audio recordings, and there's some video classes there as well if you're wanting to learn and grow and expand your spiritual gifts and abilities in your own time and in the comfort of your own home, your caravan, your tent, whatever, as long as you've got a long, shall I say, a great Wi-Fi connection, then you can do that. What else? Oh, yes. Me and Kristina were in cahoots. We were having a conversation before this episode.
Yes.
We've got some very important things to be sharing with you over the rest of this year. But that's all I'm going to tell you for now, because we're keeping it stum, but hopefully you'll enjoy what we have to share with you and join us on this adventure together. So, Kristina, I'd like to thank you so much for joining in today and bringing all of that wisdom, that helpful guidance, and your beautiful light into this episode. So thank you. I'd like to thank all of the listeners, the viewers, wherever you happen to be, all over the world. Thank you for tuning in. And if anything, we hope that you can take something from our episode today and maybe embody it into your life and the lives of those around you that you love so tenderly. So have a wonderful week, everybody. Take care. God bless, and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium